Morning still. We got a half an hour until morning. Welcome in to another Sunday Live. We are in the Batmobile once again. Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you just got to go live from the car, man, and you just got to do what you got to do. I actually enjoy it, but we're going to talk watches, of course, and there's been a lot going on. There feels like there's a lot going on at all times. I'm hopefully going to simplify that today by talking about watches that I recently received on the channel and things that I've experienced with them. Now, you guys know I've released some reviews on that, so welcome in, and everybody to the playback. Let me know what you have on wrist, because what I have on wrist is the Noctua watch. And I haven't wristed this in a while. You guys haven't seen it. I absolutely enjoy this watch. It's the perfect watch to wear on a Sunday, relaxed day. I'm dressed down, I'm maxing and relaxing, and we're going to have some fun here. We're going to talk about a couple of things. You guys are going to pick my mind. I'm sure people are going to chime in eventually, and we're going to get this show properly started, man. And Noctua watch. Yeah, I got to see what's going on with this brand quite recently. I haven't heard too much new from the GMT that he released, but I want to try to test the camera that we got here. We do have an upgrade on equipment, by the way. Not that that's very important. We're going to stick to the theme of watches, of course, but I had to get the 17 Pro Max. It's got the cooling system. They got me on that because you guys know sometimes I get an overheated type of situation. So not that I get overheated, but the phone does. And they sold me, man. I said, what? They got a cooling system? Oh, let me get that. So shout out to my man Vincent in the mall who hooked me up with the upgrade yesterday. And the wife got the 15 Max Pro. But anyway, back to Noctua watches, man, and what they've been up to. I got to see what my boy's been up to, what he's going to be up to very recently. I love this watch. You guys already know. Got that SKX type of vibe, got that Sin vibe kind of combination, all loom dial, screw down crown, beat blasted all over the bracelet and the case itself. Very recognizable and very comfortable. 42 millimeter. I mean, I love this thing, man. This is a weekend warrior watch for sure. I have so much fun with it, and I love wristing it. Absolutely. And I'm excited to see where he goes. I know he's got a lot of ideas. My man JP is always in the mix, so I'm very excited to see what happens next. On that note, oh, I've got the F91W, because you know we got a double wrist, and we have to have the digital quartz to keep us on point. Just love the double wrist. I wear a band as well. What can I say? What can I do? Have a great Sunday, man. Thank you. You too. You as well. Thank you for popping in. So, with that being said, let's start off where we last left off, and that was with the Phoibos watch. And I gotta tell you something, man. I'm so happy about the relationship with Phoibos, number one, because they're absolutely a micro brand, and they're one of the micro brands that I don't at least see at the shows, right? So you guys know that I recently did the Narwhal review. Yo, I gotta tell you, man, the fit on wrist. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean. For reference, for those of you that don't know, I have a 7¼ inch wrist. So you guys are going to see all the watches that I have on wrist as well. But I'll tell you something. This 1970 case shape is what's really making it magical for me on wrist. I just love wow, that's a little crispy, man. The camera's looking extra crispy. I can see the cut line there. I'm sorry. 1970 case shape. Fantastic colorway to the dial. You guys are going to appreciate this a little bit more now that we can get a little bit more detail on there. I mean, the blue is just fantastic, man. It has that type of teal. And I'll tell you what, blue is very important to put a little bit of a twist in, to have a little bit more than just the blue color, if you follow what I'm saying, because blue is a very popular color for a dial, and it can have that effect where you're kind of burnt out from it, right? You kind of feel like, I got enough blue dials in my collection. It's a very popular color. But I'll tell you what, man, I didn't feel that type of way with this type of blue, because it has the teal color in it, and it comes out in different sun or different lighting in general. And you have that scratch dial. Now, they did focus on this release on also some, what do you call that? Some stones, right? They had a aventurine, they had the malachite. So they are playing with stones as well. This is like the blue scratch dial to it, man. But it's the case shape that's really done it for me. And I'm going to put this on wrist so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Who do we have in chat? Tom, yo, Sky, how are you? How you been? I've been good, bro. I've been good. I got a little busy Friday, so those of you that were in the live waiting for it to start, I do apologize. That's not my style. But I just, work got overextended and time just timed out. So I wasn't able to go live then. But I've been doing well, Tom. Thanks for asking. I hope you've been doing well too. Let me show you guys this on wrist. So this is just fantastic, man. It is like a bulkier type of vibe, and it does fit bone to bone very nicely. Now this is a 38.5 if you want to get technical. That's what I got on my calipers. But you know when you're looking down the barrel of your wrist when you got that new watch on wrist, or even when you just have a watch that you can super appreciate, I think it may have to do with the curve of the lug right here that just keeps it like completely flush to the wrist. But I've been enjoying this Phoibos. Like, dude, this went straight to the main box, and I've just been super in love with it all together, and also appreciating the fact that Phoibos is in fact hitting it right on the head for the specifications. They are improving over time. You guys know what they did with the diver extension, which is pretty important. And we got a little bit of information, as we normally do, from Mark, who, by the way, was at the wind-up shop. Guys, sometimes I'm just a heat-seeking missile. Yeah? You guys know I did my thing at the wind-up shop. I'm a big dude. Once I really started having more relationships, dudes and girls, let's include the ladies as well. Once I started having a relationship with them, and I went to the wind-up watch fair as a content creator, as you guys know, I got to meet more of the team. I spoke with Cat Shoulders. I saw Zach on the panel. What's his name? Ricardo came up to me, and like once I met the team of the wind-up, Worn and Wound, knowing and seeing what they're really about, it's exciting. And it's even more exciting now that Mark is actually presenting it. So like destination point, go to Brooklyn. If you have plans to come to New York and you're gonna see Manhattan, make sure the wind-up shop is a destination point, because I'm telling you guys right now, I think they're making a push, and we're seeing some good names being added to it. And it's not just Islander, right? I don't have an Islander with me today, but you guys know I'm a big fan. And it's just so nice to now be able to get access and have that experience. And I'll tell you guys what, if you've ever been to a wind-up show, it's just like that, smaller scale, plenty of watches to see, white glove service, ask all the questions. They have a staff there to answer them for you, and it's fantastic for sure. Nerd with Swag is in the building. Raymond D, what's going on? Hello, happy Sunday. Eric Mack, of course, blesses us with his presence as well. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for rolling in. So, you guys saw the review that I did from this Phoibos, and I'll tell you something, man. I am addicted to wearing this watch. I'm really having a great time. I love the fit, the finish, the 1970 vibe. I get it. Of course, we have the updated modern stuff inside of it, right? We have the updated movements and the specs and the this and the that, and they do very well in wrapping it up in a package where they're hitting and firing it at all cylinders. So nothing but good things to say about Phoibos thus far. And you guys see me do the review to the actual GMT that they have as well. So, and that was a mother of pearl. Fantastic watch. What can I say? Moving forward, we also had Vario, right? And I'm realizing right now I didn't bring I didn't bring the watch that I just did the review on, which was his chronograph. But I have some other watches that I did a review for, right? We have this watch here, which is the A11 edition and 2. And I'll tell you what, for my regulars especially, I linked a video to my last review of Vario, where a gentleman goes down to his shop in Singapore and he gives you the full ethos and breakdown of the brand. A lot of the stuff I knew, some of the stuff was new information. It's always nice to see Vario on camera. I hope I meet him one day. But the point is this: the full ethos of the brand, the collection diversity that he has on it. He's always pushing the boundaries, and something that I don't have on wrist that he recently came out with. We're speaking about Vario now. The Futurist, right? The Futurist watch that he just released. Guys, he's got designs, man. He's a designer. You know what I mean? And I think it's one of those watches where it's dicey. It's very ballsy to put a crystal on there that almost has a guaranteed glare. And if you don't know what I mean, it's an intentional glare that gives it characteristics, and it's constantly pushing the boundaries to the designs and what's going to be accepted, what's going to be new, what's fresh. That's what we're constantly searching after, especially like you guys who are collecting for some years. you get a little desensitized to designs that are out there. So to see him push that boundary, he put the crown, I believe, at the 12 o'clock. It's a very interesting watch. I hope I'm on his list of people to touch and feel that watch for sure. If not, that's okay, because I'm still excited about it. And there are a couple of reviews, some unboxings, but that futuristic, I think it's called the Futurist, something like that, new release. I think he just released it yesterday, Vario. Fantastic. Pushes the boundaries. The ethos of the brand is to give you diversity. And he does a lot of things like nods to vintage war watches, but he makes sure to say, and he makes sure to note that when he's doing these watches like this, right, that offset dial, enamel black, fixed lugs, gives you that pocket watch when they used to attach the wired lugs to that back in the day, because before then they were using only pocket watches, and or female watches, which was called wristlets, was used in wars. And so they had to fashion wired lugs to existing pocket watches because it was cumbersome to pull out a pocket watch. Can you imagine pulling out a pocket watch during fire and everything else? It had to make sense. And so thankfully it did, right? Because now we rock these things on our wrist all the time. But the point is this: he makes sure that his watches are about time of peace, not war itself. That's why we saw all the things we saw with this watch, where he took off the seconds hand. And just so you guys know, which most of you do, at least the ones in chat right now, hacking seconds and the second hand was the most important feature of a watch. Hacking the watch and being able to time that with everybody in your troop and time attacks and time the motors and time everything else. It was all about time. So he removed the second hand from this because that signifies not needing that watch to be that accurate for your combat needs, right? It's more about peace and everything else. So I love that. It's cute. I like Vario, man. And then look, he does the reversal. He did the Vario reverser. I mean, a watch that can flip over. We just didn't see stuff like that, right? I know we had the Cartier tank that actually like flipped over while it's on one side of the, but this is a different mechanism. But the fact that he's bold enough to do and find designs like that, give you things from scratch. Of course, we have nods to things that we're more familiar with, right? But at the end of the day, if you watch my review that I did for the chronograph, everything is from scratch. Whether you like it or love it, you need to respect it, I think, and everything else. Let me catch up on chat. I tried the Tron. Man, yeah, I know. I've been trying to get my hands on that nerd, but I tried them one time, but it is what it is. Watch with the tool-free link removal. Nice idea, but it had a lot of problems. The links would stick and the watch was not big enough for me at 39 millimeters. Returned it back to Amazon. So the size, less so, right? Because that was just for your wrist. I understand that. But the toolless link system, like I showed you guys with the Wise watch, that should have been on par. Unfortunately, they may have gone with manufacturing that's subpar. We see that. And they're working at a price point, right? So they're trying to squeeze margins and they're trying to manufacture these things. So it's a nice concept that Thorn, what is it called? Thrawn. It's a nice concept that they tried to add, pushing the boundaries to see some of these affordable watches. And yes, they're more of like a homage, I believe. I believe the watch that you're talking about, nerd, is like a Tudor, clomage, if you will. But they got to get it down right. They got to get that. So thank you for giving us that feedback on that, but because I haven't heard anything from them yet. And I believe that was that titanium as well? That's a slippery slope, because at least with Wise, they did it with stainless steel, the 900 series, 316L 904. And but it works like a dream. It's 100% toolless. It's nice to have a different material in the watch aside from stainless steel. It's more nostalgic. Of course, you get the polishing, right? That shines a little bit more. But I can tell you this, brother, theirs works perfectly fine. So it sucks to hear that you had issues with it. And yeah, if you had to return it, you had to return it. It is what it is. What else are you guys saying? Did I catch up? Mr. Santana, Raymond D. Which, by the way, YouTube's still doing their thing with the names. It is what it is, though. Raymond D is in the building. Let me see if I made that case lug style is cool. Yeah, that was the Phoibos I believe you were talking about, for sure. All right, I caught up. Yep, we're good. So yeah, man, that's all about Vario. Listen, I don't want to. I'm not going to spend the whole entire time talking about them. I wish I brought the other watch that I just did the review of, so I would have showed you that. But I keep all my watches. You guys are going to see it eventually when it comes up as a topic of discussion. You're going to see that pop again. But at the end of the day, you can watch the review that I just did. Moving forward. Sea-Gull, man. Sea-Gull's making a push, as you guys know. They just sent me the Panda watch, and I did the review for that. Then they came back and said, do you want to look at the 1963 International? Which, by the way, I now have the correct link in there. So if you guys want to stay on theme with me while we work our way through this, click the link that I have in the description so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, it's a topic of discussion, and I think it's a good one to have with the community, because what we're seeing from Sea-Gull and what they're doing with their movements moving forward is, it seems like they're reeling back control, right? Like they're trying to direct traffic more towards them directly. And that's apparent and that's very obvious, especially when they're making the 1963 that was notoriously more money directly from Sea-Gull. Now we're talking directly from the brand that started it and had the actual original watch to it. And I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. This is the actual 1963 that's from Sea-Gull itself. So you get that bicompact type of look. It's a mechanical chronograph. This is an iconic watch, man. This is a watch that damn near every enthusiast knows about once they got the full bug bit of the hobby itself. And there's a very, very specific reason why. We'll talk about the strap that's on here. That's going to take us back to Vario. But before we rewind, let's move forward. When you start off and you start learning the nostalgia and the value that we put into mechanical watches, and you want to get a chronograph that is such, you start realizing that mechanical chronographs are very expensive, yes? So that all roads, right, of that research is going to lead you back to Sea-Gull, the 1963, because as you guys know the whole backstory to it, how it had history in the war, and how they salvaged a particular movement that was to resemble it, and now they're making it an affordable, and they mass produce it much like Seiko does and makes it available for most micro brands, but also affordable brands that are on AliExpress and everything else. Most recently, as you guys know, and I believe Studio Underdog was using that for quite some time until he started actually customizing it, right? Because that's another option that you can do as a micro brand as well if you don't want to start from scratch from your movement. But we'll get into that. Point is this: they're now putting minimums of 10,000 units purchased in order for you to move forward and utilize that movement, which makes you able to create an affordable chronograph, whether it be a rendition of the 1963 or it's something different, like we took a look at oh my lord, what was the watch that I just did a review of? It'll come to me. We'll go back to that. But the point is this: a lot of micro brands are utilizing that movement as an affordable mechanical chronograph. We're going to see a shift where now it's not going to be so available, and 10,000 units is a big order, right, for especially most micro brands. So they're reeling it back in, and they're doing that by making the 1963 affordable. It's something that we talked about a little bit on the last live, but today I have two of those watches, one that I have been rocking since very beginning, right? So when I started off, and I've shown you guys this watch before, this is what I got from AliExpress. Now, it does actually have the ST19 movement in it as well, right? That's something that they did. They produced the movement and they gave the blessings for the kind of design for them to do that. So we're going to see this done less or more expensively from companies and brands that are not actually Sea-Gull. And we're going to see traffic directed more so towards the actual one itself. Now, they don't look very similar because I did go with something that was a little different from the original design intentionally. But at the end of the day, it still gives you that kind of vibe. You can kind of see the color is a little different as well. And this is not necessarily a fake watch, right? Like, this was okay, right? They were buying the movements from Sea-Gull and they were getting sort of the blessings to go ahead and move forward with it, but it wasn't coming exactly from Sea-Gull, right? Think about Seiko making their NH movements, right? And how brands utilize their movements within their watches. We see that all the time. In fact, the Noctua is rocking an NH38, which is an actual no-go state wheel position with this because there's no aperture on this specific all-lume dial. So they were giving the blessings to use their movement, and we've seen a lot of different renditions from that Sea-Gull type of thing. And they were doing a decent job because this is a sapphire crystal. Everything else felt pretty much up to par. I put it up against the actual Sea-Gull watch that I got and came in. Now, I can tell you that I found that winding the watch actually from Sea-Gull felt better. And the crown is a little bit different in dimensions. You can see this one's like a little bit thicker, while this one is probably wider but thinner, which is fine because the width of the watch the width of the crown matters the most. So I did weigh them. They came in just about the same. This is a 37 millimeter, which is the international version from getting the Sea-Gull 1963 directly from Sea-Gull. And winding the movement did feel a little bit smoother in this. It had just a better feel all the way. You guys know what I mean when you're used to winding your mechanical watches. Thinking NH35 movement wind versus an SW200 or a Lejeune Perret. The feedback, the feel, the grittiness, the tolerances, right? We're going to get really fancy now because at the end of the day, what you're getting as a difference in affordability in a Japanese movement like Seiko versus a Sellita, the teeth, right, between the gears, there's less of a wiggle room, right? Where an NH35 will be more like this and you feel kind of like that tolerances, where an SW200 will be tighter, will be nice and smoother and give you that kind of higher end feel. And also we can talk about the tolerances in the plus or minus, but I don't like to get into that too much because I've had incredible luck with NH35s where they were under double digits. They were in single digits almost every time. So whatever. But even when you go from an NH35 to a Miyota, right? You could feel the difference on a 9000 series versus an NH. All three are workhorses. Most movements nowadays, including the ST and by the movements from Sea-Gull, which I found to feel phenomenal. By the way, I should put that on the time graph. Current and modern movements being made today are fine. They're using very good oils. They're synthetic. They're not animal fat like they used to be. So, and just manufacturing all around, not just on the outside of cases like you guys seen with this Phoibos, which was really, really good, but also with the manufacturing of the gears and the bridges and everything else of the world inside movements. And we all know that a Seiko movement has a great reputation of lasting a very long time before needing service. This is a conversation that I just had with somebody when I was doing the upgrade to my phone. He was asking me about mechanical watches. He was wearing an Invicta mechanical watch, and he was interested in a Tissot PRX. Interesting conversation to have with somebody who is in that atmosphere of watch collecting, where he's just showing general interest. Of course, the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80, which he was aware of, and the gentleman, was next in line for him acquiring. And he's not as nerdy, but he is into watches. The point is this. He said, I'm apprehensive about getting a mechanical watch because I heard that you have to service them and then blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, don't stress yourself out so much about it. Now, we all know the problem with the Powermatic 80, but we're talking about mechanical watches in general. A Seiko watch has been known to go for 10, 15 years, no problem, and keep running. You know what I mean? Not to say that maybe at that time it would be a smart move to change the oils to increase the longevity to reduce friction. But the point is that even if it is still running, that's pretty significant. Let's pause there and catch up on chat. Professor Schuyler, class is in session. I appreciate you, man. I'm trying. I got to put on the AC right now. I think I'm cooking too much. But the phone, even though it's getting warm in the Batmobile, the phone hopefully is holding up and everything else because it's supposed to have a cooling system. Timexes are using toolish-free link removals on their $1,000 watches. As they should be, nerd. Tell me not. Toolish? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? If we couldn't have the ability to do these things, and I'm not blaming the brands, right? If you looked at the conversation that Mark just had at the wind-up shop, he specifically at one point in the conversation talked about clasps. And we all know that a diver extension is a sick thing to have on your watch, especially if you're a bracelet warrior and when you have thermal expansion in the summer. Now, He said that that's like a $50 upcharge for just the clasp itself. My point is this. If we have the technology, we should implement it. We should be utilizing it. There is a cost factor. Some are eating it. And he mentioned that. Now, Mark, by that comment, says to me that he's protecting his own margins. He's protecting his own profit, as he should be, right? Because it's nice if a brand gives everything away for free, but what happens when the next year they don't have the money or, let's say, resources, if we want to protect that name, to continue, right? Now, without that information, it's hard to imagine that a clasp on itself with the diver extension is going to be $50. It does make sense when you really think about it and you think about the additional parts that it needs. But my point is this, Nerd, you bringing up the toolless links, right? And just so everybody's very clear, when we say toolless links, we're not talking about the quick release. We're talking about actually pulling out the link to the strap, the link to the bracelet. You twist it, it becomes unhinged, and therefore you don't have any screws, you don't have any friction pins, none of that stuff. It's completely finished on both sides. It just has a spring-loaded mechanism where you pull, twist, remove that link, and then put it back together, pull, twist, and then it's back together. 1, 2, 3, you could change a link in seconds. Every micro brand should be gunning for that. And that also includes the big brands. Now, I know that's a big and tall order. And let me be very clear about what I'm saying here. I'm not placing the blame on the micro brands themselves. The manufacturing should be pushing that. And the more something is manufactured, the more competitive it becomes and the more affordable. And the more we get the technology in the watches, like a toolless bracelet or a diver extension going from maybe $50, hopefully it goes to more like of a $30, and then we see it on every watch. With Mark's new release with the shark-themed watch, he did all the things on it, and it's very nice. It's very nice. And I would love to see every Islander moving forward have that kind of feature additional with the quick release, but it is what it is, man. And all I'm trying to say is you shouldn't have to spend $1,000 to get those features. Those are the things that should now be implemented, because at this point, a specification like 200 meters of water resistance or whatever else technology that we have that's almost overlooked at this point. I mean, we check to make sure that they have them when we purchase a watch. But when we see 100 meters of water resistance, 200 meters of water resistance, we're like, yeah, that's what we should be achieving now, especially on a tool watch. Some will accept 50 meters of water resistance on a chronograph, especially if it has pushers. But even then, some of them are achieving 100 meters of water resistance. Think to the Wise chronograph that they just came out with the NE86 movement. Let's slow down, because I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm moving too fast for myself. What are you guys saying on chat? I wish Seiko did a toolless link removal instead of painting. Seiko's probably going to be the last one to show up to that parade. I'll be honest with you. I do agree with you, but come on, man. We both know. Seiko's not even aligning bezels, my boy. And I love Seiko. In fact, I'm going to dedicate a whole segment on iconic Seiko watches, and there's so you could close your eyes and throw a dart and hit an iconic Seiko watch. Love Seiko as a brand, but they are a little bit resting on their laurels, right? And leaving things open for many years now. They just don't care. And look, when you're making so much money off of producing movements alone, but I still love Seiko watches, period. I think I read that. Yes, I read that. Let me make sure I'm good on chat. Make sure you guys are maxing and relaxing. That's what's up. So here we are, right? We talked about the ST movement and everything else. And I want to, listen, I'm going to do my inspections of, let's say, an AliExpress special. That's what this is. This is on a Vario strap, by the way. This comes as a bun strap. I just removed it. It's fantastic. And likewise, on my 1963 from Sea-Gull, because I want to be very clear so we don't get confused, I also have it on a Vario bun strap as well, right? So Vario every day, like he says. And I'll tell you what, man, this is like that thinner, modern, Skylar, put it on wrist. Okay, no problem. You didn't got to yell. Super supple as always. I mean, I always talk about Vario straps as well. That's how he started off. So we already know that he's very, very good. And I put it on this bun strap, man, and it's nice and proper, because the story goes with this Sea-Gull movement, it was a pilot watch, right? And as we know, pilot watches that reach certain atmospheres get different temperatures to which they have to separate the skin to the actual metal itself, which is why the bun strap was created, to have that separation. It does add thickness to it, right? This is a 37 millimeters. Again, everything is in the description for you guys to see. But what I like about this Vario strap, as it's portraying here, and by the way, this is an 18 millimeter. This is a single pass bun strap with the material on the back. You can remove the material in the back and just have the single pass. But what I like about it is that slim profile on the sides for those smaller size watches, especially if you have like a 35er, 33 to 35. That's going to be snug as a bug right underneath that material as well. So I think that that's fantastic way to just orchestrate everything. And what I really like here is, you see how this is flaring out? Well, when I put this in and strap this on the wrist properly, I feed that through. That has two keepers here. And then that material you could slip under here. Because you know how the end of a bun strap, it gets a little weird? It's like cool, but then it's like, not only a bun strap, a single pass strap is what I mean. Like a Zulu, not Zulu. What's the name? You guys know what I'm talking about. That material where you have to, and like, it's nice that that has like a little thing there. If your wrist is small enough, of course, like if you have a bigger wrist, it's not gonna reach, but you still have two keepers there to keep it nice and proper. So it's nice to have that little material. So he knows what he's doing, man. From the watches as a design, we're talking about Vario, to the straps itself. Let me see what you guys are saying on chat, and then we'll go from there. Oscar's in the building. What's going on, bro? In some models, yes. For the price, they're starting to change. Sapphire should be on all of them. And I'll tell you what, man, something's got to give, right? Like when we see, and I'm not making an excuse, you're absolutely right. It should have a sapphire. It doesn't bother me, right? If it's a mineral crystal, I got some poly watch, no problem. I've had a Vostok for years. They use also mineral crystal. But I'll tell you what, man, you're not wrong. Because when you talk about a price difference, now, to justify the price point of Sea-Gull doing the more affordable international, I'm gonna do a full review and I'm gonna give you guys the breakdown. I kind of gave it to you in the other live, but the point is this: they did sacrifice on certain things. Nothing towards the movement. They didn't sacrifice anything. The movement is still quality. That's not something that they're looking to do. But there was also, they took out the magnetic blocker on it. I can't think of what, you guys know what I'm talking about. It blocks out magnetization to the movement. The hardness coating. The sapphire crystal's weird to sacrifice because most of us know that that's not a big increase in price, but it is still, if it's $5 that they're saving and they can make a profit on, that's $5 per watch times 1,000 watches. You know, I get it, but I don't. But I understand, and I'll tell you what's going to happen. This is the rope. This is to rope you in. This is to get you in there. And I think that what's going to happen now that they're sending them out to reviewers to get ideas and stuff like that, they're going to hear feedback like the comment you just made, and they're going to say, you know what, put the sapphire crystal in there. If it's going to be the deciding factor, just give them the sapphire. I think that's what's going to happen. And right now they're running a promotion of getting 2 straps. The straps are not that great. They're not that great. I immediately wanted to put this on a Vario strap, I'll be honest with you. But again, that's where they're saving as well, right? You get a better strap when you get the reissue of the 1963 rather than the international. And that was some of the other things, the packaging as well. You know, for me, packaging, it's going to the garbage anyway, so what do I care about, you know, getting a nice package with it. I do like it when the bun strap fits the case of the watch. It looks weird to me when the watch is swimming in the middle of the pad. Yeah, I mean, with that being said, I do like, you know, Eric, like the circular ones, like when it kind of outlines the watch a little bit, that's kind of cool. But when you didn't even say that, you said when the watch is swimming on that pad, that's weird. I have to agree with that, which is why I love this, man. This is neat. It's already, because you already have to deal with the additional thickness to the watch when you have that material underneath it. So to have like all that material flaring off to the side would be too cumbersome. That's my new word. That's the word of the live today. On some models, yes, the prices are starting to, I read that one. Vario makes the best straps for the price, in my own opinion. And they're top tier. Welcome in. And that's, I'll tell you what, Vario, my two most strap companies, which they really don't interfere with each other, which is nice because there's so many out there and there's so many that are good. But I'll tell you what's happening right now. I used to exclusively get straps from AliExpress just to save some money because at the time I was positioned more to the watches in putting my money, and therefore the strap was still an afterthought. And I thought the AliExpress straps and bracelets, like you dance with tolerable and just garbage. You don't really get like, oh, this is great. You know what I mean? Very rarely. And I've had already bad experience with my Seiko Turtle. You guys know I went to Strap Code. There's a Strap Co. I went to Strap Code, C-O-D-E. And I got that fantastic bracelet. And I was searching something for that Seiko Turtle, and I didn't find it until I went there. And they're an actual strap company that's not like AliExpress. And that's when I realized, you know what? I'm done dancing with the hit or miss with quality. I'm only getting good straps. So my point was this: two strap companies, Montrose Strap and Vario. Vario's also a micro brand. Sometimes people don't know that they started off with straps. Sometimes they don't know they have watches if they were introduced to the brand as a strap brand and they see a bunch of straps out there. But he does both very, very well. It's interesting to see his story from where he first started. I recommend you watch that video that's in the description of the last Vario review I did. But Montrose Strap for the FKM, as you guys know. And guess what? Next live that I do, I think it's going to be the next live. It's going to be sponsored by Montrose Strap. I have decided to do a sponsored content. Now, he didn't give me a bag of money. The only sponsorship of it is he's going to do a giveaway. He's doing a holiday push. He wants the brand to be recognized a little bit more. You guys know that I've talked about Montrose Strap. And guys, I'm not putting my name to something I really don't believe in. I promise you that right now in my watch box, I didn't bring it with me today, but I wasn't even supposed to talk about it yet, but I have to. I have several Montrose straps, the FKM, on my watches right now, and so does my wife. I really, really believe in the quality. It's super, super comfortable, super supple. So the next live, we're doing a giveaway of 3 straps, so stay tuned for that. You just have to comment on the video, nothing crazy. You don't have to do a song and dance, tell me you love me and hype the video. None of that. You guys know me. Like, just say that you want a strap and I'll have him pick one up. I'll have him send one out to you. He's going to be picking the winner. But the point is this. Those are the 2 companies that I go for. They don't get in the way too much. Epson Leather is something that Montrose does as well. He's looking to diversify. And then Vario covers the gamut. He's got the tweed straps. He's got definitely leather. He's got stuff like this on bun strap. Matter of fact, for me, he's got the monopoly on bun straps. Like, I'm dead serious. I don't go anywhere. Like, when I think bun strap, I'm like Vario. Like, because when you have that extra material like this, even on something like thinner and slimmer profile, it's supple out of the box. What are you guys saying on chat? Michael, they do some sapphire on some models. Yeah, so some models for the Sea-Gull is more so for the reissue. So if you want sapphire, but there's a price difference. We're talking about, this is $3 and change, I believe. I think they also have stores on AliExpress and Amazon as well if you want to get around the 2s. But if you're going for their reissue, you could only go directly from their website, to which now you're paying around $6 and change, $7, I think, something like that. And you're going to get the sapphire. But you're not only going to get the sapphire. When I do the review for this, you'll hear all the upgrades that you're going to get. But you're also going to get the anti-magnetism. You're also going to get the hardening coating. Like, they actually put some stuff into it too. But listen, I don't want to split hairs. I kind of agree with you on the sapphire crystal part and everything else. I think I'm good on chat, right? I agree, Michael. Hey, Oscar, paying Seiko or any other watchmaker $700 to get window glass is insanity. I love how you said that, window glass. Yeah, man. That's the common thing that watch enthusiasts are gonna say. So you're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. I do like it when the bun, I read that one too. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to really take a look at this and find whatever else that I can find. Now the pushers interact just like how I would say the one I got from AliExpress. I didn't notice a difference. The winding, as I told you guys, it is a sapphire crystal. They are stripping it of a couple of things. And then they mentioned they're not promoting it as hard. So they are sending them out to reviewers, which is great. I guess they figured that goes a long enough way, but they're not pushing and campaigning on their own accord so much. And that's where they said that they're going to save the cost. But I really think that what it really comes down to is Sea-Gull is looking to reel in their movement and their availability, especially on the 1963, because as I said before, people who are newer to watch collecting and they get into the mechanical chronograph, that's the first one that comes up. This one's super iconic for doing that. Speaking of iconic, I'm just remembering that I did bring another watch, which I might as well show you guys if I can find the, yes. Somebody said something in another live stream, and it was Ben 10 actually. He said that my watches are trophies, man. And it just made me want to grab this because when he said trophy, and when I was talking about iconic, I had to think of my SKX. You guys have seen this watch before. I have it actually on a strap habit. That's another brand, I can't lie. But it goes against the Montreux FKM. That they battle in my mind. I don't want to start no beef. But I got to say, I did want to test that out and put it on the strap. It's good. It's great. No qualms with it at all. It works the way it needs to. I mentioned that on other lives as well. But these 009, and as you guys are noticing, this is not the original bezel or bezel insert. I did modify that version of it. I didn't touch anything else. I did at one point change the case back to this. But as you guys know, there's nothing to marvel about the SKX movements. So I decided, why am I going to risk that with the water on the exhibition case back? So I put that back. But I love this watch, man. Super iconic. I'm glad I grabbed it to win when I decided to do it, because there's not much like it. I mean, you could argue that the turtle is another thing that you can go for if specs are something that you're after. But yeah, man, this is a trophy for me, and it's super iconic. And if you put these two together, I think that as far as popularity goes, now you could still get your hands on a 1963, especially with them making a push for availability. But I was always happy and glad that I grabbed this when I did. And I love the watch, man. And I still have the original bezel and bezel insert. I will be putting that back eventually, but having fun with it. But I didn't want to touch anything inside of the watch, because Seiko, if you want to build an SKX, you could build an SKX. Whether it be through some of the platforms like Namoki Mods or DIY Watch Club, or going on AliExpress if you want to go the most affordable route, but it's not also the safest in quality of parts. It's super easy to get your hands and build an SKX kind of look itself, man. You really don't have to sit around and wait for Seiko to one day do it, because they're having a lot of success in their 5KX if we're talking about Seiko. So they're saying to themselves, why? Why would I do that? That other Boulevard watch too, the Caravelle, that's been the talk of the town. And I'm seeing, the first time I came privy to that watch was from the wind-up shop having a conversation down there. But I'm starting to see it now surface in conversation, whether it be reviews or just people actually talking about it on their podcast. It's very nice and appreciated because it's going into the archives and it's pulling something out and it's giving you a modern time deal. I think it's 200 meters screw down crown. It has a nice hour hand to it. It's got a nice look overall. So some people are even saying that that's the SKX replacement at this point. But I personally think it needs a little bit more, because I'm super nerdy and I'm gonna weigh and measure it as such. And I would say that the ISO certification, when you don't have that, you know, so that's why I always recommend, I always recommend the turtle for that reason. Like, I slept on the turtle. I really regretted sleeping on the turtle because now it's a bigger watch. It's a completely different look as far as that goes. But I dare to say that if you want to do tit for tat and you really want to stay within brand, that's going to be the replacement for the old SKX, because you get the actual divers 200 meters, you get the screw down crown, it's got the sapphire crystal, you can remove it like I did if you don't want it, and everything else. What are you guys saying? Watch connoisseurs, connoisseur. This is when my volume gets low. Yes, Hannibal. Skylar is our guru. Nah, come on, dude. That's too much pressure. I'm definitely not a guru. I would like it a lot more to say guide, because a guide can mess up, right? A guru can't. You know what I mean? You go to a guru and he's like, you're like, what do you mean, What do you mean, You're the guy. You're the guy. A guide could be like, well, you know, I've been down this path a few times, but the trail seems to be a little dry here. Let me look at the map and recalibrate. And you're like, okay, this guy still knows more than me. Not that I know more than you. Calm down. But Guru is a lot of pressure, bro. I'll take God. Hold up, wait a minute. It says Oscar Nunez in the watch. Nunez, the watch collector. Oh, Shuggy now. Yeah, man, he's that's quite the long name, bro. That's what's up. I wish, what'd you say? I wished more brands use acrylic. And that's a good point, dude. Actually, I was gonna say that for the type of crystals, because they have pluses and minuses, right? Off the top of my head, I can't tell you all of them, but I definitely know that there's some collectors that prefer it, for sure. I mean, that's the reason why you get models of the Speedmaster. You get those different renditions and stuff like that, and a lot of people actually prefer it, for sure. And for me, like I said, when it comes to like a mineral crystal that's easier to scratch, I'm like, yo, I got Polywatch, no problem. And even with that, I think and granted, I rotate my watches, you know, very far in between. I have a lot of watches, so like it takes me 2 months sometimes to get back to the same watch that I'm rocking. But the point is that I haven't really scratched the crystal as much. You might be a little bit more hands-on and need that, but you can remove it, man. And there are strengths to having it outside of sapphire, if you will. So yeah, it's just, it comes down to what you make acceptable for set watch, because I think that matters too. I think it's not just about, oh, I need sapphire on every single watch. It may be for you, but I think that there's tolerances and there's vibes and there's exceptions. Obviously, if you're going for a vintage watch, what are you gonna do? Or you may have a vintage inspired watch and you prefer it. Like I'm thinking about Laurier, right? Laurier does that. Laurier intentionally uses mineral crystals because that's what they did. It has a warmer feel. I think it's something, there's another thing about glare and stuff like that. I know there's pluses and minuses, guide, not guru. And I get it. So I get it, man. But I think that it's also a matter, at least it is for me. I like sapphire on most for obvious reasons. But that's not going to stop me from getting a watch. That's another point too. Like if I think a watch is really, really cool and it fits in my collection and it's really the next thing that I have to do, which right now I don't feel that way and I'm just enjoying feeling content, I think that I'm not going to say no to a watch because it doesn't have a sapphire crystal. If I'm in love with everything else, you may feel differently though. That might be like your breaking point. Paying Seiko or any other watchmakers, I read that. I think I caught up on chat. The Murph is boxed up on trap now. Yo, Murph has to find its way into the combo, baby. So wait, you're saying that the Murph is boxed up on trap now. And I hope he shows that watch, man. And Hannibal, that's the 38 with bracelet, yes? The watch yesterday came, what? I was watching yesterday some brands I never heard of. Bro, very expensive, taking about 50K. Sheesh, 50 thou wow? Yeah, that's, see, I just changed the channel after that. I don't, it's cool to like, I definitely have to say this, right? Like, not 50K. 50K, I'm just like, ah. But like, definitely $5,000, especially in the independent. You guys know I've talked about Accutron and my interest in why. You know, I just mentioned how I'm feeling content with my collection. I think that if I continue to feel this way going into 26, I think the move is just to stay on storage mode after I get the Murph. Hannibal, calm down. And go after something a little bit bigger when it comes to that, right? And because the Accutron and the technology, and we're talking about the actual, not the remake that they just did of their movement, but their actual in-house movement that has 18, no, not 18, has like 24 patents. It's ridiculous. No, why? And look, I think it was 2 years ago when this was really talked about, when it really surfaced. Am I right about that? Or was it 2000? Was it 5 years? Whatever, it was years. So I know it's not new news, but it's still significant enough for me to want to bring to the surface. It's new to me. And so, yeah, man, if we're going to talk about movements, if we're going to get to that point on this channel, and we are, yeah, we got to talk about what they're doing with that movement. It's insanity. And so my point is this: if I feel content long enough, because that watch is $3,000-$4,000 by the time I'm ready to pull the trigger, maybe it'll be closer to 5. Hopefully not. You're not getting that aftermarket. Nobody's selling that. If you buy that watch, and some of you guys have that watch as well. What's his name? Who has that watch? It'll come to me. Um, and if you own that watch and you're in chat, please let us know. You're not letting that thing go. That watch is fun, electro powered. Oh man, yeah. Maybe that's where we got to go. And mess around with some bel canto, some in-house movements. Venetianico did it as well. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. I could certainly borrow the watch, and that's what I should do for 26. So like that, I could at least dissect it and digest it. I'll need some time with it. I need to do some more homework. Guide, not guru. But yeah, I think that's where I'm headed, ladies and gentlemen. That's fascinating to me. Oscar, it depends on what watch you have with the sapphire crystal. It would be better to have a acrylic on a watch, like say a G-Shock, because the sapphire could break, but the acrylic just scratches. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's stuff that we get with like an F91W. We get the resin and everything else. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point that I didn't think about. If something that you're intentionally putting on your wrist because it can take a beating and keep on ticking. What's the thing for Timex? If you're intentionally doing something that you're going to be very, very rough on, you don't want something that shatters. Very good point. I have a Timex and my favorite Seiko with scratched crystal. Wait, what? I have a Timex and my favorite Seiko with scratched crystals. Once the scratch, you can't unsee it. 2 wasted watches. So when you get set watch and then it gets this, but you can't remove the scratch. But like you said, scratch on sapphire. Is that what you said? Seiko with scratch crystals. Is that? Oh no. So Seiko does their own proprietary thing for their crystals. Yes, it's supposed to be somewhere in between. Blah blah blah. How'd you scratch that thing? You mongrel. What were you like skydiving, my guy? And the Seiko stuck the landing for you? Congratulations. You deserve a prize. Because I'm saying it because I've got this SKX that I got very, very long time ago. Very, very beginning. Not a single scratch, my boy. So he's like, thanks. Rub it in my face. I get it. It ruins the experience for me. You can't unsee it. And I know that. I know how that feels. I modify watches, as you guys know. When I put something together and I checked to see if I had a custom watch. When I put something together, and especially on a black dial, and you have lint, oh, you can't unsee it, and you know it's there. And nobody but a watchmaker is gonna see it. Like, I could have one that's underneath the hand, and you only see it at 12 o'clock. I see it. I'm looking for it, so it ruins the experience. Point made, my good sir. Queen takes bishop. I have a Timex and my 2 favorite. I already read that. It depends. Did I read that too? Yes, I did. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Tudor now has watches over 6K now. That's no surprise to me. I mean, I think that the biggest conversation with Tudor for a great deal was the used market anyway. The fact that they're going to move upstream, I mean, Rolex is moving upstream. Why wouldn't they? The excitement has been there for Tudor as well, right? They've been doing a lot of exciting things. In fact, a lot of people, even enthusiasts, are saying, wow, why doesn't Rolex, you know what I mean? So they're going to take advantage of that. They're a business at the end of the day anyway, yes? So that's no surprise. But I think that the biggest value, and I would have no problem getting a Tudor aftermarket to save the doll hairs on it. Because that's another crazy reliable move and a crazy reliable watch regardless. That's not a sleeper, man. Like, there's nothing wrong with a Tudor, man. For sure, Accutron, yes. Yes. Movements have to go, say again? Have to go with Minerva. Oof, I almost closed that out. It's not going. I have it and it's not going anywhere. You bought the new one. Okay. Do have it, but vintage. I think I'm good. Oh, you got the Accutron. Hannibal, that's you with the Accutron? I know somebody showed it as a wrist shot. I got it in, oh, it was Eric Mac Daddy. Pause. Yeah, I remember. It was your wrist shot. Yeah, they offered a special edition, but I liked the clear minute track on the regular model better. 2020, it was 5 years. Yes, you're absolutely right. And wait, so you said you got it, okay, special edition, okay, but I like the clear minute track on the regular model better. Okay, I got you. But it's a fantastic watch, is it not? Like, powered by your energy? Like if you pound up somebody, yeah, that just powered my watch. That's cool, man. That's cool. I can't wait to get into that. And I'll tell you what, that literally changed course for me to say, I think that that might be the Grail watch. I did two bunny ears because, parentheses, because my definition of Grail is something that you can obtain. Yes? I don't see the point of saying, yeah, that's my Grail watch, but I'll never own it. What did you just say? Personally. So, and it was the Belcanto, but it switched over. What can I say? What can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close out here. If you have anything you'd like to tell me now or forever hold your peace. We've been live for quite some time now. We're pretty much getting to the hour. So if there's anything that you have to say, let me know now. Otherwise, the next live that we do, like I said, is going to be a giveaway. It's going to be sponsored by Montreux. All you have to do is comment to the video. And we're going to have some conversation. I'm going to give you guys real life examples and why we're going to kind of do like a reiteration. Well, the conversation can go anywhere after that. The first 5 to 10 minutes is going to be a focus on it. And I'll tell you what, man, no shame in doing a sponsorship with Montreux at all because I truly believe in them and I use them. In fact, my wife loves those straps as well. She loves the softness of the strap and everything else. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic and everything else. If you have a various brand using ETA and Toledo movements, how do you place value on these watches? Well, I mean, I think it just starts with, of course, the cost of the movement itself, right? There's automatically also going to be added value to the fact that it's a Swiss made. And it's a Swiss made that's been around for a very, very long time. There's comfort in knowing, even though at this point Japanese also has the same, and I'm talking more of like a Miyota 9075, but then there's also the argument of, well, you know, if my NH movement goes bad, like my Noctua watch has an NH38, right? Am I gonna take this to a watchmaker to take apart, put back together, lube, clean, this, that, blah, blah, blah? When I could buy another movement and swap it out, I could do it myself. But even if I couldn't do it myself, I could give a watchmaker an NH38 and say, hey, I want you to replace the two. Have a nice day. That's the service call for it. And I think that that's the smarter service call for it. Because if you're having an NH movement in a watch, you're more valuing a robust movement that's just going to get it done, right? And you want to enjoy, or rather the value more go into the design of the watch instead. That's at least the MO of NH movement, right? But when we talk about Sellita and ETA, it's Swiss made, right, baby? It's finer arts, right? It's finer craft. And it is. I just talked about it in the beginning of this live. You could feel the difference. The movement itself manufactured because there's better tolerances in the plus or minus. There's better tolerances in the winding. There's an expectation of any reputable watchmaker in the world should be able to service this. There's an access of parts, right? There's a cost for that nostalgia of the movement and the reasons I gave you, but to add to that, there's more of a justification to have an ETA movement, Le Jouperet, Sellita. There's more justification to have that movement actually serviced. And let me know in chat before we close out right now, because this I'm curious about. There's a such thing where somebody's like, no, I want this watch to last me a very long time. I want it to be serviceable because I want it to be like an heirloom. And when you have a watch that even if originally it wasn't meant to be an heirloom, because you might go higher when it comes to that, right? You might go higher in grade. But when we talk about Sellita and when we talk about ETA, that's also in luxury brands, right? That's also in very expensive brands. So it's highly respected and accepted in the culture, even on higher end pieces. My point is this: do you, as a watch enthusiast, value having the original movement within the watch? Does that matter? Especially if, and maybe I should add this into it as well. Well, it's a two-part question. Do you value the actual movement in your watch? Yes, of course, outside an NH35, but let's say a Sellita or an ETA. Would you not want to replace the movement? Or would you want to have that cleaned and have the original one birthed with the watch? Does that matter? Because I have my suspicions that, and for some enthusiasts, it's all about the movement, right? So to have that movement, I don't care if there's a million SW200s or ETAs. I want the one that was birthed with that watch, and I want that was my father's watch, or it's a watch that I gave somebody that meant something to me, and I want that movement that came in that watch instead of swapping that movement out and everything else. Yeah, that makes sense. If there's any brands using ETA and Salida movements, including the Swiss-made, wouldn't that mean that the ETA and Salida movement should be considered the same value as much? And you know what? I think for the most part, ETA, Salida, they are valued the same way. I think for the most part, depending on which exact caliber we're talking about, I think so. And I think that it just depends on the individual, right? Like what specifications specifically, or what version of that, right? Is it a Labouré? Is it been time and tested in 5 positions? Is it Kosk, right? So it all depends on what you want out of the damn thing. And it always goes back to this. This is the common theme. Buy what you love, wear what you love. And that's the most important watch, period. The most important watch is the one you're wearing on your wrist. Whether you value the movement for the questions that you're asking here on chat, or if it's everything else. If you have, I read that, right? Yeah. Accutron, Oscar, yes, I liked it in 2020. Okay, I read that one, blah, blah, blah. They use them as base. They use them as base movements. That's also a thing too. They then upgrade, improved. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about, right? Whether that movement be, let's say, whether that upgrade be, let's say, a complication, right? Something that they put as an additional. I'm trying to think of an example of that. It's hard for me to think of an example off the top of my head, but you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they add to it. Sometimes they'll take a Salida, even a Miyota. At this point, it's happening with Miyota 9000 series, right? Where we see modifications to movements. Because it's so much easier to take the base of something you know is solid and build on from that rather than start from scratch. I don't know, man. I just think it's crazy. You have to be crazy, and it may be in a good way, but it's only a bad way if you're not prepared for such, right? Like, it's so easy to say, yo, start your own movement. Do you know the risk on that? That is risque. You're rolling the dice, and if you spent decades building up your brand name and you do it wrong, man, enthusiasts are harsh critics, man. They'll lose interest like overnight. They'll be like, yo, they used to be good. Overnight, they'll be like, yeah, they used to be good. Then they try to do their own in-house thing, and that was a flopsky. So the better way, I think, and especially because you know that I'm mostly zeroed in on micro brands and independent brands, the better way maybe perhaps is to go ahead and build on something that is tried and true, and then go from there. Think even if you do modifications that aren't technically making the movement better, but give it a better aesthetic. I'm thinking like Studio Underdog, which there's an argument there where you could say Studio Underdog is improving it because he's regulating it, I believe, right? But he's also blackening certain bridges and everything else. That looks super dope. And before you even have to modify, that's fine with me. But we see a lot of people with Miyota. This live got nerdy. We see a lot of Miyota get modified. We've seen SW200s get modified. So it happens. And it all depends on what the brand is trying to achieve. And I think that it's the smarter way. Listen, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that coming out with your own in-house movement shouldn't just be the golden standard. And you shouldn't be trying. I'm very passionate. That's why I'm yelling. Let me calm down. I don't know why I'm yelling, but I'm passionate. That should be the golden standard. Technically, right? But at the same time, it's a hat trick almost, right? And so I think the first step to dabble and to understand and to show your progression, because you still need remarkable watchmakers. I would imagine that if you're doing things like doing aesthetic changes to the movement, you still have to have watchmakers that are working for you and tackling that type of thing. I think that that's the right way to do it. Even if it's 1 or 2 watchmakers at that point, that's fine. But I think the right way is to do that and then graduate to eventually down the road, because you need to be suited and booted. And I'm not just talking about financially. Guys, you can have all the money in the world, man, but you still need the people, the right people. And if you don't believe me, talk to the guy, Richard at Accutron, and how much he appreciates all of the parts and departments coming together and feeling like it's just the right time. Lightning is strike more than once because they have the right people putting it all together. It's not just enough to have enough money to hire people and be like, oh yeah, he's a watchman. Yeah, but how good is he? How much does he understand the brand? How much does he understand the mission? How well does he gel? Does he fight? Does he throw temper tantrums when you tell him to do these modifications or do these movements or this is the only watchman? And that's another side of it too, man. We're going to end very soon, but the other side of it is, congratulations, you built your own movement. Now you're the only person that could service it? That could cause a problem too. So my point is that you need to build your muscles up before you try to bench press 400 pounds. End scene. 0 to 1,000 real quick. Yeah, I know, I'm like that, bro. Even that was my attempt to try to calm down, but I'm very passionate about this stuff. I'm very passionate. I'm thinking new American micro brands should move away from cost certification because it holds to businesses standards that favor European brands. I agree, man. Like, and I'm very biased when I have this opinion, right? Because I don't care about cost. If I'm being honest, it's cool, right? Like if you gave me a watch and you're like, oh yeah, it's actually cost, like it's running 0 seconds plus or minus a day. I'm like, fire. That is fire. How long is it gonna last? How long is that gonna be? How many positions and this and that, and how much did it add to the cost is gonna be the. So I mean, I'm very biased when it comes to that. I think you're right, Joker, as far as you're playing a different game. And then, look, you mentioned favor for the European brands, right? But then let's talk about Grand Seiko then. If you want to talk about plus or minus seconds per year, forget about month. Per year, spring drive, yes? Granted, I get that it's also a combination of the two. But my point is this. If you want to talk about accuracy on what's on a mechanical watch or what watch has, what do you call enough mechanical, whatever the case may be. I mean, they used to have competitions, the Swiss, yes, on who could build the most. They stopped doing that because Japan was just climbing through ranks, right? They're like, oh, we know how to play this game, right? They almost crippled them, right, with the quartz crisis. So it's not something that I am particularly invested in, and there is a significant cost, and there is a lot of technicality. When you talk about one of the things, if you're listening to this, one of the things you got to understand when a brand, and we're talking about web-based brands, right? Haven't said that in a while. Watch enthusiast brands. When we're talking about a brand like that says that we're regulating the movements, understand that we're not talking about cost at that point, or we're not talking about anything near it most of the time, yes? Because if you contact set brand and you say, well, how many positions did you regulate in it? More than likely, they're going to say 1. For most people, that's going to be okay because the cost of that regulation to value is going to match because they're always dancing with the idea of it. How do I move upstream without looking like a pig? Especially if I started off in a $500 range and now I'm pushing watches with $1,000. You can add any specification you want to set watch. You're going to get pushback. I'm thinking of Jack Mason as a perfect example. They are worth the price, in my opinion, that they're giving. Because if you look at the spec sheets and you see the hardened coating, you see the regulation, you see the refinement in the detail, more than just the standard manufactured refinement at this point. And by the way, they released their diver watch, but they rolled it into the straddle timer spear like that. And they just gave it and I'm all right with that because don't fix what ain't broke. If I just got to give you a timing bezel and therefore it's a diver because it has 200 meters, the aperture is a nice clean circle at the 6 o'clock position. Peter knows what the hell he's doing and his entire team. And they're doing regulations on their movement. And they move upstream. I understand that they're using also different movements at times, but if you talk about their bread and butter, they're not. They're using the Miyota, which was a great significant achievement, by the way, right? They were one of the first to use the 9075. They're a perfect example. My point is this. It's hard, man. It's hard. And I'm always going to come more so in the perspective of a web-based brand or a independent official brand like a Christopher Ward or a Doxa or, you know, of that nature, because that's what I'm most educated in. At least that's where I feel most comfortable and I think that I'm educated in. What were we talking about? Cost. Yeah. Kosk, I'm happy to have this conversation with you guys today. Yeah, man, me too, Joker. This was a lot of fun. Plus, it's grade 2 titanium. Yo! Thank you, Julius. Hail Caesar. And it's titanium. And I'll tell you what's important about that grade 2 titanium, what did I say, 5? Grade 2 titanium, is that it's difficult to do two things with grade 2 titanium. A very good bracelet that still has good tolerances within, and I would imagine they used screwed links. I haven't touched the watch yet. Screwed links on the fly, I'm sure it has, right? Harder to manufacture. You know what's harder to work with titanium? What was my point? Oh, the bezel click. At least Watch Chris, I believe Watch Chris. I don't think he's gonna lie to me. I have trust in him. He said the click is pretty decent, and that's hard to produce with titanium. I've seen it done incorrectly before. So I love Jack Mason, man. And you know what? I don't think that, and I may be wrong, it may happen tomorrow, but I don't think that their hydro timer was as much of a hit. And it's a phenomenal watch. Travis has sported that watch and finally on bracelet many times before. And but at the same time, I think Peter also understands that we're too late in the game to just come out with a regular diver. Even if it wasn't a GMT, I think he's like, why not add the GMT function in there? We're already in bed with it. It already works. We just got to do a couple more things. Now, you don't have titanium? I wonder how the weight is on that. Because there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, titanium's just too light. No, I'm just joking. You're allowed to feel like titanium's light. You're soft. I'm just joking. But it bothers people when you don't, and I get it. I do understand that. Listen, we associate something cheap with something being light, right? Something that doesn't feel substantial. So I wonder how the weight is on that. I didn't pay close enough attention to see what he was measuring in grams, but of a watch. But yeah, fantastic. They know what they're doing, Jack Mason over there. Tantalum, Hannibal. I love titanium watches. Titanium watches are good, man. And they're a good way to diversify. 904L steel. Do I have titanium? Yes, I do. My Bodery. What's wrong with me? That was the name that I was talking about before. Going back to the Sea-Gull movement, the ST, yeah. It's going to be harder for brands like Bodery, right, to utilize that movement if they don't have 10,000 units worth of cash flow to buy. How do you finish a point an hour later? We're closing out, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just catch up on chat, and then I'm out. Now we're past the hour. I care about cased up regulation rather than movement only regulation. I'm trying to pretend like I know what you mean. I care more about cased up regulation rather than movement only regulation. So I guess you're talking about when they receive the movement into the case, how well it's performing, rather than what you got on a time graph when you were quote unquote regulating the movement. And I'm not throwing shade. They do, a lot of brands do regulate themselves. Dufresne, he does it himself. Jack Mason, Studio Underdog, I believe also. But at the end of the day, yeah, it matters how it's going to perform, not only in case, but on wrist, as I do this all day, right? Although it runs plus or minus 0 seconds a day. The second you move it, oh yeah, now that's -6 plus 5. So that's why it's like, dude, if I'm so hyper focused on timing, I'm gonna get a quartz. I'm gonna get an F91W and call it a day and whistle all the way home. That's why I like the double wrist. Okay, I read that. Let me see. Let me catch up. I think we're good, man. I think we're good. This was a dope conversation, man. You guys are also always super dope. If you're watching this in the playback, let me know what you had on wrist at point in time, because I'm always curious what the community's wearing. RGM craftsmanship is ridiculous. Yes, and I think you've mentioned them before. That's dope, Oscar. I'm going to check out RGM. I'm going to check them out too. Is almost their 100% American movement. See? Matter of fact, before we get off, I'm going to write that down. RGM watches. I know I've here. Good thing Ben 10's not here. Oh my God, Skyler. You don't know RGM? He's probably in chat, but just quiet. Hold up. I don't want to forget RGM watches. I forgot the other brand, and he was like, oh my. Yeah. I see a rose turn engine as the first photo. As the first photo. Yeah, 100%. You've mentioned them before, man. That was, yeah. Was it that brand? Anyway, this was dope. This was dope. This was dope. This was dope. What are you guys talking about? Never been PLR. I have a Casio Royale and a mod with the SKX mod. Two fantastic. One so much with mechanical and one so much with quartz. Those are both fantastic. And I even modded my F91W to a blue negative screen as well. And yes, it has a Vario strap, so we could just tie in everything before we peel off. Fantastic. But yeah, I'm very interested. Yeah, 100% American is fire. Like, we need that. And you know what? You just need one. You just need one, because that starts the fire. You know what I mean? I'm a professional Canadian. I mean, I make myself laugh, Hannibal. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are laughing, but I at least make myself laugh. Oh, you don't know RGM? He's like, yo, bro, I'm following you this whole time, and you don't know him? I'm sorry, bro. I don't know every single brand that's out there. I know what I know, and I keep it moving. All right, guys. Super fun, super dope. Had a lot of great conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, hopefully next week, but the next live for sure, we will do a sponsor. Don't miss that one. At least we'll give it some time. We'll give it a couple of weeks so you guys can get into because I want you guys to try the straps, man. I want there to be winners. I want there to be other people other than myself saying they're great. The FKM from Montreux. They're fantastic. That being said, I'm not going to tie up any more of your Sunday. I do appreciate every minute that you have spent with me, especially those who chimed in the chat. This was a lot of fun. Great conversation. Fantastic enthusiast. I learned a lot today, and I'm not a guru, but I'll take guide. With that being said, I appreciate you guys for spending your most valuable, which is time. I appreciate you guys for spending your most valuable asset, which is time. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Later, guys. Have a great Sunday.